Do you feel completely safe when you go out on your own? Do you know the staff at the shops in your neighborhood and your neighbors? If you were to have a problem, are you confident that someone you know would notice and help you? For many women over the age of 60 living alone across the United States, these questions are becoming increasingly important. Today, we're going to talk about 5 warning signs that will help you decide whether your neighborhood is as safe as it used to be for solo seniors living alone. These aren't the well-known danger signs you've probably heard of before. They're changes that can easily go unnoticed. If you watch the video right to the end, you'll have a clearer idea of whether your own neighborhood is safe. And more importantly, I'm going to give you practical, actionable steps you can start taking right now to protect yourself and your independence. So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's dive in. This video could genuinely change the way you see your neighborhood, and that awareness could be the very thing that keeps you safe. Warning sign number 1, the quiet disappearance of your old neighbors. Do you remember when you knew at least 5 or 6 families on your street by name? When Margaret next door would wave from her porch, and Bill across the street would always give you a nod when you got the mail? When you had what felt like an invisible safety net of familiar faces around you? Now, think about your street today. How many of those people are still there? The first and most overlooked warning sign that a neighborhood is becoming less safe is what experts refer to as the erosion of the social fabric. Residents who have lived in the same neighborhood for decades and have a deep sense of connection to their neighbors begin to leave quietly, one by one. One moves away due to retirement, another sells her home, or they move to a different city to be closer to their children. And what replaces them? Short-term rentals, transient occupants, people who are there for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year, and who don't know you, and frankly, have no reason to look out for you. Here's why this matters so much for solo seniors. That informal check-in culture that used to exist, where someone would notice if your car hadn't moved in 2 days, or if your lights never came on, that safety net disappears with your long-term neighbors. What you can do: when a new neighbor moves into your neighborhood, take the first step towards getting to know them. Perhaps you could knock on their door with a small cake or a tin of biscuits. That way, you can build the kind of good relationship that really matters. Identify at least 2 or 3 people in your area who know your routine and establish a simple check-in system, a daily text, a wave from the window, anything that creates accountability. If short-term rentals are becoming dominant on your street, pay attention to turnover patterns. This alone can tell you a lot about the direction your area is heading. Warning sign number 2, small physical deteriorations. This one is sneaky because it happens so slowly that your brain may struggle to notice it. After all, it is very difficult for us to notice small changes in the places we see every day over the long term. Criminologists have long been studying a concept known as the broken windows theory. According to this theory, neglected repairs in a neighborhood can actually lead to very serious problems. A flickering street lamp that never gets fixed, footpaths overgrown with weeds, cracked pavements left unrepaired, even graffitis and street writings that isn't cleaned up can be a sign that your neighborhood isn't being looked after properly. Each one of those things, on its own, might seem like a minor inconvenience, but together they signal something important: that no one is watching, no one is maintaining, and no one is invested in the upkeep of this community. And for a woman walking alone, particularly at dusk or in the early hours of the morning, these physical deteriorations are more than just an aesthetic issue. Broken sidewalks can pose a risk of falling. Burned-out street lamps can create dangerous blind spots. Damaged handrails on public staircases can pose a serious hazard. But here's what really concerns me. When municipalities stop responding quickly to maintenance requests, it often means the neighborhood has dropped in priority, and that's a sign worth taking seriously. What you can do: do a deliberate safety audit of your usual walking routes. Pretend you're seeing them for the first time. Report streetlight outages, broken sidewalks, and unaddressed graffiti to your local municipality, and follow up if they're not addressed within 2 weeks.
I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these physical changes in your neighborhood recently? Drop a comment below and tell me what you've been seeing. Your observations might help someone else reading this recognize the same patterns in their own area.
Warning sign number 3, your trusted local businesses are disappearing. Think about the places in your neighborhood where people know your name. The pharmacist who always double-checks your medications, the grocery store owner who sets aside your preferred brand, the coffee shop where the staff knows your usual order. These are just convenient, they are what researchers call social anchors, and they play a critical role in your daily safety as an independent senior. When essential local businesses start being replaced by high-turnover shops, vacant storefronts, or businesses surrounded by aggressive security measures like heavy iron shutters and around-the-clock security guards, that's a signal worth paying close attention to. Businesses usually notice that the neighborhood's safety is deteriorating before the residents do. They analyze data such as a decline in foot traffic, an increase in thefts, and changes in the customer base. By the time businesses leave, they have generally been reacting to trends that have not yet become apparent on the street. The loss of these safe spaces also brings with it a practical security concern. If the chemist in your neighborhood closes and the nearest one is a 20-minute drive away, you may find yourself in a difficult situation in an emergency. If a shop you don't feel comfortable in opens in place of the supermarket you're used to, this could negatively affect your daily routine and your mood. What you can do: make a list of the local businesses that are important to you and make a point of visiting them regularly. Familiar faces are very important, and they are more likely to notice if something is wrong with you. When a trusted business closes, don't just accept it. Ask why. Talk to the owners if possible. Their answer can give you valuable insight into what's shifting in the neighborhood. Start identifying backup options in advance, alternative pharmacies, grocers, and services you can rely on if your current ones close. Having a plan before you need it is everything. If you notice an uptick in security installations at local shops, trust that instinct. It means the business owners are responding to something real. Warning sign number 4. The street has gone quiet in the wrong way. There's a particular kind of quiet that feels peaceful, the early morning stillness, the weekend calm, the gentle hum of a neighborhood at rest. And then there's a different kind of quiet, the kind where people have stopped walking for pleasure, where you notice that neighbors rush from their cars to their front doors without lingering, where the park benches that used to have retirees chatting in the afternoon are now empty. Pay attention to changes in pedestrian behavior, because people's behavior in public space is one of the most accurate indicators of how safe they feel. When a neighborhood becomes less safe, people unconsciously adapt. They stop strolling, they stop gathering, they move with purpose and speed rather than ease. And often, one of the first groups to stop using outdoor spaces is older adults. If you find yourself looking out your window and realizing that you are the only person your age still out walking in the afternoon, that's worth noticing. It often means others have already made a quiet retreat, and that collective retreat is itself a warning sign. Also, keep an eye out for groups loitering on street corners or around parks. When public spaces are taken over by these groups, it signifies a real shift in the dynamics of the neighborhood. What you can do: keep walking. Seriously, your visible presence in public space is itself a form of neighborhood maintenance. But be strategic, stick to well-lit, well-traveled routes, and vary your timing so your routine isn't predictable. Walk with a friend or a neighbor when possible. Even a casual walking partnership creates accountability and safety. Trust your gut. If you find yourself feeling uneasy in spaces where you used to feel comfortable, pay attention to that feeling. Consider a personal safety device or a smartphone app like Be Safe that lets trusted contacts track your location during walks. Warning sign number 5. The digital and invisible threats you can't see. This last warning sign is the one most people completely overlook, and in many ways it's the most modern and the most insidious. We live in a world where a lot of neighborhood safety information now lives online, on community Facebook groups, Nextdoor, local Reddit communities. And if you're paying attention to those spaces, you'll often see early warning signs that haven't yet shown up in official crime statistics. Watch for a sudden spike in near-miss reports. Posts like, "Someone tried my car door last night," or "There's been a string of package thefts on Oak Street," or "I saw someone suspicious in the alley behind the pharmacy." Individually, these might seem like isolated incidents, but when they start clustering, when you see 3 or 4 similar reports in a short window of time, that's a pattern worth taking seriously. Another invisible metric worth tracking is emergency service response times. Most people don't think to pay attention to this until they're in an emergency, but emergency response time is one of the most reliable indicators of how prioritized your neighborhood is for public safety resources. If you start hearing from neighbors that response times for non-emergency police calls have stretched from 20 minutes to an hour, that's a meaningful shift. What you can do. Join your local Nextdoor community or a neighborhood Facebook group and check it regularly. Information is protection. Keep a simple, private log of safety-related incidents you see reported online in your area. A pattern is only visible when you track it over time. Test your cell phone signal at various points around your home and on your usual routes. If you identify dead zones, document them and consider whether they seem natural or unusual. We've covered a lot today, and I want to make sure you leave with something concrete you can act on, not just things to worry about. Here's a simple framework. At the end of each month, I want you to ask yourself 5 questions. Have I noticed any long-term neighbors moving away without being replaced by people I've gotten to know? Are there any new physical hazards or maintenance issues on my usual routes that haven't been addressed? Have any of my trusted local businesses closed or significantly changed in the past month? Have I noticed any change in the way people move through and use public spaces in my neighborhood? Have I seen any spike in safety-related reports in my neighborhood's online community spaces? If you're answering yes to 2 or more of these consistently, it's time to take a deeper look and potentially start thinking about whether this neighborhood continues to serve your safety and well-being as an independent woman. That doesn't necessarily mean moving. It might mean deepening your safety network here. It might mean installing additional home security. It might mean having a frank conversation with family about contingency plans. But it starts with awareness, and that's exactly what today was about. Living independently as a senior woman is something to be proud of. It takes courage, planning, and real strength. And protecting that independence means staying informed and staying one step ahead. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 5 warning signs surprised you the most? Or have you already noticed one of them in your own neighborhood? Leave a comment below. Your experience could genuinely help another woman watching this video right now. And if you know a friend who lives alone and might benefit from this information, please share this video with her. That one share could make a real difference. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Stay safe, stay aware, and I'll see you in the next one.